The CIS's war against the Republic featured many heinous acts carried out by separatist droids on the orders of the Council. But why was the CIS so reliant on these merciless acts of violence? Now, as we discussed on a previous video where we covered the CIS's strategy in the war, the stateless strategy, the Separatist Alliance did work very effectively in fighting the Republic, and victory was definitely possible. However, unlikely. Although it had far more soldiers, they were inferior to the clones. The CIS also lacked many experienced commanders, instead relegating much of the jobs to droids. And this is unlike the Republic, which had a plethora of prestigious military leaders. Now, initially, the CIS believed it could just roll through the Republic territories and force a surrender. However, the Clone Army prevented this. The Clone Army did some huge things, but one of the biggest accomplishments, for better or for worse, probably worse, was the fact that it distanced the war from everyday life. For the vast majority of everyday Republic citizens who weren't living on the battlefields of the war, it didn't really affect them. It may have increased their taxes, made shipments and travel more difficult, and probably caused a few rifts in the community between pro and anti-war supporters, but it wasn't a big deal for them. Sure, they would hear about the battles and losses over the holonet, but it wasn't their friends and family dying on the battlefields. It was just nameless clones, easily replaced and disposable. And this is one of the biggest problems the CIS needed to overcome. In an elected government like the Republic, it's essential for senators and leaders to have the support of their people. Only when you can change the minds and the opinions of the people is when you can make a change. And this is it. The CIS needed to make the people of the Republic notice the war. It's for this reason why the Separatists were on many occasions obligated to perform evil acts or have the droids do it for them. On Ryloth, natives were used as human shields. The Blue Shadow virus was planned to be released on Naboo. There was also Grievous's assault on Coruscant. And these are just a few examples of a long list of horrific war crimes committed by the CIS. And the reason for them is clear. When you hurt the people of said world, they demand something to be done with it. When innocents are butchered, the people aren't just hearing about the war, they're living in it, and will demand it to be ended as soon as possible. This is a very real thing in our own world also. The Blitz during World War II, despite also wanting to cripple factories vital to the war effort, it was done to damage morale. And this obligates the leaders to sue for peace. This was all probably a very large part of their tactics during the war. All they had to do was hurt the Republic and then watch as the people turned on their leaders, who would be forced to rethink the war altogether. Another interesting point is that the CIS Council, particularly the high members, stayed out of the war as much as possible. They did issue commands to their underlings, however, majority of the heinous acts we see occur were carried out by either the droids or the cold-blooded killers that served them, such as Grievous. I believe that this is done purposely. When the war was over and the true extent of the CIS's war crimes came to light, people would want justice, and the council members didn't want to have that blood on their hands. They'd be able to claim ignorance in a way, as if they were held responsible, it would put them in many people's crosshairs, and this would ultimately be very bad for business. Luckily, these tactics rarely work. In many occasions, it simply escalates support for the fighting, as civilians demand justice for their loved ones. But what do you think? Why was the CIS involved in so many horrendous crimes against civilization? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, I do hope that you enjoyed. If so, please remember to like, share and sub, as it's really appreciated and it helps the channel grow. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter @TheLawGuy and tick the bell for regular updates. But most importantly, I do hope that you enjoyed this video and learned something new, and I'll see you next time.